Welcome to the Captain's Chronicle podcast. I'm Casey Hughes, and I'm back again with Jackson and Matt. Today we have joining us senior slotback Tariq Sims. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up, guys? How you doing? They obviously introduced me or whatever, but I'm Tariq. I play running back and slot receiver at Loudoun County High School, Leesburg, Virginia. That's pretty much my introduction.
Who do you have with you today?
I got my son, Kyron. He's 4 months old. He's getting real big.
What's up, Kyron? So first off, I'm going to start off with, what was your college recruitment process like? Because obviously everyone knows that you're going to Old Dominion now.
All right, so technically, I kind of thought I was in a tight spot because Corona hit or whatever, and, we had to leave school. So it kind of I thought it ruined my opportunities a little bit because, one, I had planned to go to a bunch of college camps over the summer, and then they ended up making a dead period. The NCAA ended up making a dead period, so we weren't able to see colleges or visit any. So that kind of screwed me over a little bit. But come April, I was actually talking to schools. Schools would start hitting me up here and there, and then we ended up getting a new recruiting coach at our high school. His name is Coach Peterson. He had actually worked his butt off. He stayed on the phone with colleges 24/7. He got my grades out there. He got my film out there. And pretty much April 14th, that first day was Old Dominion who offered me, and I was just kind of and they offered a full ride. So that was, definitely relieving just to know that I actually had an opportunity to play at the next level, because if I didn't, I kind of, I would have had to play my senior season and then get more film and then, go through that whole process again.
Right.
Yeah.
So what colleges were looking at you or were talking to you besides Old Dominion?
Okay, so the other schools that I was really talking to, but kind of never offered, was schools like JMU, Monmouth, Navy, Columbia, and then schools that offered me were Liberty, University of New Hampshire, Rhode Island University, Western Illinois. Who else? It was a pretty decent amount of schools, so it's kind of hard to think off the top of my head. But those were some of the majority schools that I was pretty much really looking at. So
yeah.
So out of those, what made you pick Old Dominion?
So technically, I kind of developed a really good relationship with the coach there, the position coach, because I'm being recruited as a running back to go there. So the running back coach, me and him kind of just really clicked, and he had his first child. So it was kind of good to talk to somebody who kind of understands how to work with your first child, and he would talk me through it because he's an adult, so he knows a lot more, obviously. And we just kind of had that connection. And then the head coach, Ricky Arani, he came from Penn State, so he has a great background. And then a couple other coaches followed him along the way, which was Craig Campbell, and then we have Coach DeCosta, who came from LSU. And then Coach Lucas, which is my position coach, he's from all over. He came from Elon, but he's coached at a lot of top schools like Bowling Green or, schools like that. So,
yeah, that's solid. So obviously you have Kyron joining us today. First off, congratulations on having him at the end of the summer. But what has having him been like, and did that play a role in your college process, picking a school?
It actually, thank you, first of all. It actually definitely did, because if this never happened, I probably would have gone out of state. But at the same time, ODU was an FBS school. It was one of my only FBS offers. So I was just kind of all right, well, one, I want to at least play somewhere where I'm going to get to be able to play on TV so my family can watch me. Right. And, I just kind of wanted to stay somewhere relatively close to when we have breaks and stuff, it wouldn't be that long of a drive back, so I could be able to come back and see him. And Old Dominion, they have a really good business program. I looked into all that because that's what I want to study when I go there. And they're next to the beach, so I kind of thought that was pretty cool. Just it'd be nice to go somewhere and live near the beach. And I've been to Virginia Beach plenty of times, so it's it's really beautiful.
Yeah, they're 20 minutes from the beach. It's pretty awesome.
Exactly.
So what all have you been doing this off season to just stay ready? Because obviously the high school season got pushed back, winter season got pushed back. So just like, what all have you been doing?
So basically, since we kind of didn't really expect the season in the fall to get canceled, it would actually be like me, Jimmy, Gavin. We would all go out. We all go out to like to a neighborhood, Woodley or whatever, and we practice and run routes and stuff like that. So we kind of just did a whole bunch of that and just started going one-on-ones and competing with each other. And that made us a lot better over the off season. And obviously, lifting wise, it was kind of hard for me to get to a gym because gyms were closed for a pretty long time. So I ended up just trying to like kind of work out at home and do like body weight stuff, and then do whatever I could just to stay or maintain my weight. But pretty much like it was more of just like doing one-on-ones and just competing. That's what basically made us better. And then I trained with some pretty cool coaches over the off season. One, it was actually Coach Cooley, so that was pretty cool. It was a really good experience. I got to train with him. And then I just, talking to college coaches and them giving me tips on what to do, just like stay ready and stuff like that.
Okay, so County is a new football coach, or head football coach. What has that been like, the transition?
The transition's actually been pretty good. Like he's obviously opening up a new playbook. His coaching style's completely different. Like I love Coach Recruitment to death, but I kind of like Coach Chronicle style just because he's a younger coach. He's more energetic. He wants to create a culture basically. That's like pretty much what I like about him so much because he's so focused on like creating a culture that maybe will end up coming together during the season and we can actually have a pretty decent season. And due to the fact that we only have like 6 games, it's just like, well, one, he's obviously working his butt off. And then with the COVID stuff, since we have to fill out forms every day, do all that type of stuff, then he's got to stay on top of all of that. So we can be prepared for the season. He's been following the steps correctly. And then he's been playing a big part in recruiting and stuff like that. So he's been helpful. He's been really helpful. And then he brought a whole bunch of new coaches along. We have at least 8 full-time coaches right now, which is great. I think that'll definitely help out a lot, especially with a 6-game season. So.
Yeah, and you were talking about the 6-game season. When we talked to Caleb, and obviously basketball is different from football, but both of your seasons are kind of constrained. And he kind of said he was going into this season with that every game matters mentality. Like, not that you don't always come in, but this season is imperative. Do you kind of have that mentality as well?
Oh, obviously. Since this is my senior year, I kind of just look at it like, well, one, I'm not going to go out there just, slack just because I'm already going to college. But senior season, it definitely means a lot to me, especially for football players, because I'm playing with people I've played with since I was like 6 years old. So it's just like, one, I can't wait to ball with my brothers who've been there for me and throughout my whole career. So I definitely want to go out there and just, play every game like with everything I got, especially now that I have him. It's just like I have 10 times more motivation than I had before. So I just want to at least hopefully try to become first team All-State. And just, ball out pretty much.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and with playing with, a shortened season, playing with no fans, has that changed any mentality or thought process, going into games?
It really isn't, just because like I've actually kind of been used to it, because there's some times like when I was little, we played games where they were so far away that some parents just couldn't make it. So I mean, I guess I could say I'm pretty used to it, and it wouldn't really affect me as much, but I feel like it will affect our team energy a little bit, just because, we feed off of that energy during games, especially like, with the Raider Riot or whatever the new student section name is going to be. Just, that's always, they've always gotten us so hyped. It's just like, one, it's going to be it's definitely going to be different just because we don't have that energy and, you know, parents being there. So, so I think we'll be straight though. So
how do you think another thing, you guys lost a bunch of seasons last year. You're going into a weird season with no fans. It's shortened. How do you guys think you're going to fare after losing Noah Loki, Willie, Josh Pettiford, Joseph Rose, Sean Hanaker?
Well, I think like now, since, you know, we've had so much time, a lot of the kids have actually gotten like 10 times stronger and just bigger. So, I mean, we do have players like Jackson and Caleb Graham, and then those are like some linebackers that we have, and then obviously our line we have like Nallin, Michael Gillis, Jameson, Hunter, Scott Regal, and then we got Gavin leading the offense, you know, Jimmy at receiver, we got Brendan Boers out there playing receiver, we got Russell. I mean, we have some talent, and I think we have a whole bunch of potential to be like how we want to be, especially if we've been practicing at the level that we have practiced, because we've been practicing pretty hard with for the past month or so. So I definitely feel like, you know, just losing those guys. I mean, it was a bummer to lose those guys because they were obviously all great athletes, but we just kind of had to look forward and be like, all right, we got to use what we got pretty much.
What are you expecting this season record-wise? It's kind of like the same question, but obviously it's going to be all district play pretty much. So what do you expect from the competition this year?
Okay, so I think, like, in my opinion, I think our hardest games are definitely going to be against like Broad Run, which is the first game on our schedule, and then we have Tuscarora mid-season. So I think we definitely have to prepare differently for both games, especially since Broad Run's our first game. That's like a right off the bat hard game for us, and that's like pretty much a tone setter. I definitely feel like I have to be at my best. You know, obviously I expect the team to all feel that way, but just from my perspective, I think that I have to definitely be at my best for those top two games, but obviously we'll be at best for every single game. But, you know, so that's basically it.
Yeah. So how this off season, how did you balance, you know, training, you know, preparation for college, and, you know, just, you know, life, you know, during COVID?
So I mean, I'm not really like, I kind of like, since I've talked to the coaches so much, they've told me like, you know, just chill out, you know, just take it a step at a time. And this is coming from the college coaches. They're just like, you know, once you get here, then we'll get you right. Like, they obviously college, they have a completely different like type of program. So, you know, they have to like, you know, put weight on you, and you got to lift a whole bunch, eat a whole bunch, practice like almost every single day and go at a certain schedule. So I've kind of just been, you know, preparing myself for the high school season, but I've been using like some type of like, you know, college techniques almost to like, you know, get bigger, get stronger, get faster, like, etc., stuff like that.
Right. What if those off-season practices look like?
So our first couple weeks of practice, we were only able to condition, so we couldn't have any balls, we couldn't have any equipment, and we each had different groups, so we would all go at different times. So it'd be like one group at 8, another group at 8:30, next group at 9, then, you know, 9:30, etc. So I mean, we did a bunch of, we couldn't go on the field at all either, so we weren't able to use cleats, so we had to stay on the track. We did like a bunch of conditioning, we did some like footwork drills, and then, you know, later down the road, we ended up, our LCPS ended up allowing us to use balls, and we were allowed 50 people on the field, and we have to fill out a COVID checklist every single day to you know, make sure everybody, you know, is good, and then we get our temperature checked, obviously. So once we got balls back, we actually it kind of feels like normal, except that we have to wear a mask. So that kind of like, you know, sucks a little bit, just because, you know, it's kind of hard to breathe in them. But other than that, like being just like on the field now and then having balls, it kind of feels almost normal. So
good. So, is there any restrictions for the season as far as masks? And obviously, you're not going to have fans, but you don't have to play with masks or anything, right?
I wouldn't assume so. I don't think you have to play without mask. I actually think because like everybody's played without mask, but I'm pretty sure we'll probably have to have masks on the sidelines. So
Right. Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how everything's gonna work yet. So
Right. I think unless Jackson has anything or Matt, that we're going to try to wrap this up. Congratulations on committing to Old Dominion and good luck this season.
thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. Thank you all.